Good morning. Just dropped off the kids at school. Got a little bit of time on my hands. What should we talk about today? Well, I do know that I did say that this channel is meant for fishing, me learning how to fish, you watching me learn how to fish, whatever all these techniques are, and believe me, there are tons of techniques. I don't think it's that difficult. I think it's more of learning the technique and going out and practicing just that technique for a few days, just to get it down so that you know in your head when they say throw a chatterbait. You know how to throw on a chatterbait, you know how to go out, and you know how to at least use it in the proper manner. I've been told a couple times that, hey, it doesn't matter how you use the lure, the bait, whatever. It doesn't matter how you use it. But it does. There's a special technique for each thing. But I also did say that this channel is going to be about me, my family, and my fight with cancer. So I thought I should take a second, make a little video, and tell you what's going on with me, or who I am, and what I have. So about a year ago, I started with pain in my back, which ended up turning into me going to work that morning and throwing up everywhere. And that led to my spleen being so big. Your spleen should be about this big. Mine was, 8.5 or 9 pounds. It was pushing my chest, my lung up to my heart. It was pushing all my stomach intestines, or whatever you got down in your stomach. It was pushing all that way the heck over here. Squeezed my stomach. I must have lost like 30 pounds in 2 or 3 weeks, I'm assuming. Nobody wanted to operate on me. Nobody wanted to touch me. I had internal bleeding going on. And so a couple months later, we end up finally finding a surgeon with these huge hands. I'm talking mitts that are just like linemen. A professional football size guy. This guy was massive. And he must have only been like 21, I would assume. But he had enough confidence to come in and say, dude, I do this for a living. I take these things out all the time. I have no problem going up in you. And it was kind of hard when you see the hands that big and you're like, man, you're going to stick that up in my insides? But with his confidence, I was so stoked that we finally found someone that would be able to do this and take the risk. And so while he was in there taking it out, I think it was I was supposed to be an 1.5-hour surgery, and it ended up turning into like a 3 or 4 hour surgery or something like that. I feel bad for my wife that was sitting out in the room waiting. I could just imagine what she was going through. I tell you this, it was about the scariest thing I've ever done, I think. They strap you to the table. I'm thinking, all right, they're going to knock me out before I get up into the surgery room. No, they don't. They wheel you into the surgery room. And as you're going in there, only thing in your mind that's going on is, man, there is a lot of weird looking tools around here. It looked like I felt like I was in the movie Saw. You got these big giant saws on one side. You got these huge different, ripping open and holding vice things on people. Or it kind of reminded me of a horror movie. Like, I really wish they would have knocked me out before they wheeled me in there. Because then after they wheel you in there, they slide you up against the table that you're going to do surgery on. And they kind of slide you over from your gurney to the table. And then when you're on the table, they put you in like the I don't know how to explain it, the Jesus Christ, the way he looks on the cross. It's kind of what they did. I mean, they didn't cross my legs. It was more of they strap you like this, and they strap your legs, and then they kick your head back like that. And then this lady walks around, comes behind me, grabs my head, and that was all I remember. Was she gave me like this Vulcan death grip is what I call it, because that was the last thing I remember. Was her fingers like this, go right here, and boom, I was out. And when I woke up, it kind of sucks waking up from surgery. You got this huge freaking hose that they don't tell you about coming out of your, going from your mouth all the way down your throat to wherever it's supposed to go. And then there's another hose too going down there. I mean, one felt like it was hella big. I mean, it was probably like the size of a pin, but it felt like you had a garden hose down my throat. And you can't talk, so you're just like this with this hose going down. I must have, if I knew sign language, that would have been great, but I didn't. So my sign language, apparently to my wife was a lot of this, and a lot of this, and a lot of. I was probably a dick. I was all drugged up on whatever they were giving me. You can't talk, so you don't know anything. You're worried about everybody else. You're trying to ask how the kids are, but how do you say kids? I was strapped to a gurney, trying to put my hand down like this, saying kids, but to make the manner for like a symbol for short. I don't know, but it wasn't coming through right, and I was getting frustrated, and I must have took it out on my wife. I know she told me, but there's probably stuff she didn't tell me, on the way I was acting. You don't remember none of that. I vaguely, you remember parts of it, just little parts. But so, I thought it was all good, and it ended up being not all good. When the surgeon was When he cut me open and he was getting it all out, he also took a look around at other stuff because they still had no idea why my spleen had got so big. And as he was poking around and looking, he found something that looked funny on my lymph nodes, which turned out to be lymphoma cancer. So that started my whole first recovery from the surgery, which was a lot. I tell you, when they cut you open, like they cut you open from your belt buckle to my chest. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not gonna. It's right here, all the way from my belt buckle all the way up to about where your chest starts. Goes right up, goes around your belly button, and goes right on up. I swear. I mean, I'll show you one day, but the scar is about this thick, and then at the top it wasn't even healing. The stitching opened up, so I had like a huge crater in my chest. Like you probably could have stuck an army figure in there and had him, in his own little bunker or something. It was that big of a crater. And they say, oh, that ain't nothing. You want to fix that, just squirt this honey in there. Some organic honey that goes into the little crater in your chest, and it eventually healed. I had my suspicions about it, but it worked. Then after that, it was recovery from surgery. Then after recovery from surgery, it was all about the cancer, and we found out I had Hep C. So what happened now is we can't do anything about the cancer, about the lymphoma, until I'm done with my Hep C medication. My Hep C medication is extremely expensive. And, everyone is saying, well, don't you have insurance? What about your copay? I'm telling you, I got insurance. I'm on insurance through my wife's work. But the copay would blow you away. You could go out and buy a boat, a brand new boat. You could go out and buy you a Ranger if you wanted to. Or me, I love Legends. They're just huge. I love big, giant deck space. I got a little tiny deck space on my boat, but yeah, with what my medication costs as a copay, I could have easily gone out and got a new boat, or a truck, or a car, or a down payment on a house probably. It is crazy. People just don't understand that. They don't understand like what financial problems cancer does to you. It takes a lot. You not only your medical bills aren't just. Everyone says medical bills, but you don't know if you don't. if you're not in the situation, you don't quite understand what a medical bill is. It's just it's the bill every month. If you have to go in and get shots or blood work or just a checkup, like me, it's blood work. Like almost every month, I have to go in and do blood work. I see 1 or 2 doctors once a month, and so you figure for that blood work is probably $50. One doctor I think is $15 or $20 for copay. The other one is I don't know. I think it's 30 to 50 because it's a specialist. And sometimes it's a couple doctors. I have a cancer. I have my cancer. I don't know their technical names, but I have one that's a cancer doctor for my lymphoma. I have 2. That's my Hep C doctor, which, by the way, that is going good so far. I've been on the pills for 2 months, and I'm down to my last bottle, so it'll be my last maybe 20-something days. And the blood work so far is saying that my body is clear of the Hep C. We're hoping that nothing from the lymphoma gets activated or, I don't know, reacts badly to any of the Hep C medication is the hope. And then we have to wait. So we have to wait till after my Hep C medication is done. When my Hep C medication is done, maybe in the middle of next month, I think. They want us to wait 6 months after that to make sure it's all through, the Hep C doesn't come back, before they even start any cancer treatment, which I understand. But, and my doctor did also say that, we'll have to find out after you're taking your Hep C medication. If anything else occurs from your lymphoma, then we'll have to wing it or not wing it. I don't think doctors are allowed to say that. But they said that we're going to have to take it from there. So that's kind of where we're at with that. That is my fight with cancer. There's a lot more to me. My past is my past. If you want to hear about that, I'll probably do a video about that. When I was 18, I ended up getting sentenced to 10 years in prison for hurting people really bad. I was not a very good kid. So that's just kind of a quick little update. Not even an update, it's just a quick, what do I call it? Cliff note. That's your little cliff note. If you're as old as me, you know what cliff notes are. It's just a little cliff note about a little insight to me in my life, and my first little video of putting in, personal stuff out. So have a good day. I think next up.